Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid. I am just gathering some supplies to get started on uh, processing out those Cornish that are out there. When I cleaned out the garage, I located a lot of the things that I needed that we haven't used since we moved. Like my blades for my knife and um, the cone and all the stuff that you need, all the things, that you need. Anyway, so I'm kind of putting that together and I thought, well, while I'm doing that and applying bug spray, I will talk to you guys a little bit. So I did put a layer of natural bug spray on under this, and it is going to be rainy off and on today. I'm actually going to be setting up under the overhang of the shop, but I got ate up so bad this week that I did one layer that's like a safe natural one like on my skin, and then I'm doing this over my clothes because they are loving me. They always love me. So, whew, lovely. Anyway, so I was just grabbing some of my stuff and getting things together. Frankie's gonna be helping me today. I just went and woke her up. Um, but I'm excited to knock these birds out, guys, and I hope that we can get the majority of it done before the thunderstorms set in, because they are supposed to be coming in like early this afternoon. But with her and I working together, even though I am filming it for 3 Mississippi, which generally does make things take a little bit longer, it's going to be one of those things where I'll film one round and talking about it, and then I'll switch gears and just start cranking them out once we're done filming. Because for those of you that have heard us YouTubers talk about that, it really does take 2 to 3 to 4 times as long to accomplish any tasks that you're trying to film, because you are trying to move the camera and get the angle, and then you have to stop and talk about what you're doing, and so it just takes longer, which is to be expected, right? Like, that's normal. But when you're kind of in a time crunch and wanting to get things sort of done, it makes it a little bit like, I just want to get through it. So there's times where we do things when we don't film. And I know a lot of times we'll mention, oh, we did X, Y, and Z, and people will be like, why didn't you film it? And it's like, sometimes you don't have a chance. Things happen fast, and you've got to, hurry up and move the animals, or hurry up and get this done because the weather's coming in, and you just legitimately, it's like all hands on deck, and you don't have time to record it. I'm sure there's times where, in fact, I know for a fact there's times, when all of us, in the family, because we've kind of talked about it too, when something happens and you're like, damn, I was gonna film it, but it happened so fast, or I got so busy, I just didn't. And it's a challenge sometimes to think to run and grab your camera when things are going on, especially when you need your hands, or you don't have time to like make sure the angle's right, or if you're even capturing it, so it happens. And then there's always the times where you do set everything up and then you have a camera fail, a bad card, or your battery dies, or it's a bad battery and you didn't know it was a bad battery because this is the first time it's ever gone bad on you. Things like that happen. So it is one of those things where we try to do our best to get everything kind of filmed and done and shown to you guys. But uh, I think now, after doing it for a while, I'd like to think I've gotten better about, when I'm demonstrating something, to be able to demonstrate it clearly, show the one time, and then be able to turn the camera off and just bust it out. I do feel like I've kind of gotten that down pretty well now. This is actually the first time since the first time that I did birds that I'm processing without mic involved in any way. Normally we do it, we pick a weekend when they're ready and we bang them out together. And Frankie's usually what we call the bird catcher. In years past, if you guys have watched our old videos, we had a chicken tractor that was really low to the ground. And Frankie was little, it was really easy for her to crawl in it and get the birds out. And so that was her job, was to go wrangle the birds and bring them to us. And then, Mike and I would do the assembly line, and I would do the putting them in the cone and the actual, and I would do the scald and the pluck, and then he would do the evisceration. And then we'd work on bagging and labeling them and weighing them out together once they had cooled down after sitting on the ice for a few hours. So that being said, I think that Frankie and I, now that Frankie's older, she's gotten really good at doing a lot of the farm work. She's been working in the garden. She's been working on the tractor. She's been doing all of those things, but I've never really pulled her in to help me with the animal stuff. Number one, because I love doing it. And number two, I never really needed her help, I guess. It's something that I can do on my own. So I've never really asked for it unless it's something that like physically needs to be moved, that I need an extra set of hands or something like that. But this is going to be the first time that she and I are kind of doing it together and processing the birds out together. And I was asking her last night, I was like, hey, how do you want to do our assembly line? Like, she's never eviscerated a bird. She's seen us do it 100 million times, but she's never done it. And I said, do you want to get the birds? I will do and you can do the scald and the pluck. And I said, and I'll do the evisceration. I said, or do you want to take a crack at doing the full half of that whole thing? She's always been a little bit uncomfortable with actually dispatching the bird. She gets hesitant, and that's really normal, especially in the beginning when you're learning how to process your own fowl. A lot of people hesitate at that part. It's the unsure if they've got the right spot. They don't want the animal to suffer. They start questioning themselves, and some of it is just practice. It's just knowing where it is and knowing how to hold everything, and it's just, there's a learning curve, just like with anything. So she said, yeah, I think I just want to dress it, and then you can eviscerate. And I'm like, okay. She's like, and you can do the dispatch. I'm like, okay, that's fine. She's like, I might try one or two later on, but she's like, I feel better if you did it. And I was like, that's totally fine. I've never made Frankie do anything that she didn't want to do, especially when it comes to anything having to do with processing the animals. And you guys know this year Frankie bagged her first deer off of our property here in Mississippi, and that was her first time hunting. Now she has, again, obviously growing up on the farm, she has seen us process hogs. She has seen us process lamb. She has seen us process all kinds of different poultry and fowl, ducks, turkeys, and all that, and chickens, of course, and quail. Quail is the only one I believe that she actually dispatched herself. And I think it was because she felt more comfortable because it was smaller. I think she felt like she had more control over what she was doing. So she did try her hand at that once. And then she was like, yeah, I don't want to do that again. I just wanted to try it. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to make you do it again. So I have her help with other aspects of it that she is comfortable with. And I guess it's kind of funny when you think about it because, she had no problem eviscerating the deer and hunting the deer and doing all of that, but it is not as up close and personal as physically hand-to-hand contact when you're dispatching a bird. You're not shooting it from 100 yards away. You're physically touching the animal and doing it. So I get how that's different, and how she might feel differently about it. So like I said, I would never force her to do it. She is very understanding of where her food comes from, which I think is one of the biggest things that we wanted to make sure she knew when we moved here. Because, we want our daughter to understand how nature works and how the earth is bountiful and blessed, and how we have to work hard to nurture that and be a good steward. And when it's time, we harvest that yield, whether it's, off the earth, off of our land, or something that we've raised on our land, or something that we've planted and grown and harvested. So these are important lessons that I'm glad that we've been able to give her, even before we got to Mississippi. That was one of the reasons why we moved to that little farm in Ramona in the mountains in California, because we knew we would be able to expand that and give her more of that information. I will say that, uh, for where we lived before we were in Ramona, we had a garden. That was the only thing we could have there, and Frankie was understood that's where her food came from. That's where her carrots came from. That's where her broccoli came from. And she never had, we've talked about this before, she never had a jar of baby food in her entire time growing up. We made all her baby food out of the garden and things, fresh ingredients from the store. We never bought jarred baby food for her. And that was something that we always wanted her to understand, was that the food comes out of the ground. It doesn't come out of a jar. Because processed foods are not good for us. Are they necessary sometimes? Like, do you want to have some of those things that have been processed to a degree on your shelf? 100%. Yes, you do. But do you want the majority of your diet to rely on, Kraft mac and cheese out of a box, or, Cheetos or whatever? No, you don't. So kind of instilling that in her early on was really important to both of us. So I'm really happy now that we're here and we're able to, now that she's older and she can be more involved, it's very helpful. And it's a nice thing to be able to share with her. It's a passion of ours that most of the time she appreciates. I'm sure there's times where she's like, I don't want to do this, I don't feel like it today, or whatever. And of course, as when you have animals, or you have a garden, there's times where you might have an outbreak of bugs and you have to deal with it, or you have a sick animal and you have to deal with it, or it's processing day and you have to deal with it. These are all things that come up when you have livestock and when you're farming. So it's good, I think, for her to see that the role of things and how that all has to take precedent, and be important in every aspect of everything that we do around here, and getting everything kind of established. And it will only continue to run more and more smoothly as time goes on. We do have the advantage of, it's not like we moved from an apartment to 45 acres. We had been doing this already. Now we're just going to be able to do it on a larger scale. And now she's of an age where she can hunt off the land and she enjoys that, and she can fish and she enjoys that, and she can contribute in ways that I think are really good for building self-esteem. Those of you that have ever, raised your own meat or hunted for your own food or grown your own food to any degree, there's a pride that comes from having the capability of doing that. And there's also that feeling of self-reliance that you can't describe it to somebody that hasn't experienced it, I guess. And especially with her being a female, not trying to get all like feminist or anything on y'all, but I do like the fact that she has those capabilities and that knowledge, because some of these things that we're teaching her are, kind of dying arts in a way. Yes, they have kind of had their own renaissance and are coming back and becoming more popular, and we love that. But there's still people that go, oh gosh, I can't believe you process your own birds. I can't believe you can your own meat. Like, there's still people that have that attitude of, why can't you just buy it at the store? And I think, and I've said this 100 times, I think if 2020 taught us anything, it's that you don't want to have to rely on the store for everything and the supply chain for everything. You want to be able to take care of yourself on your own to the best of your ability in your situation. Because I know not everybody lives on 45 acres. I know some people live in high-rise apartments, and I know that there's, everybody has to do it to their own degree and to what they're comfortable with. But I'm excited to be able to share today with Frankie and really, really get this done. with her help today. So she's going to be some girl power out there, getting in those chickens, putting them in the freezer. I can't wait. I think we've got about 40 to get through. And today there's one that I may, she's really tiny. She's just sort of the runt of the group. And I may just throw her in the chicken coop and just let her do her thing for a while. But I'm excited to get these guys done today and hammered out. And then we got to stop in the middle because she's got an eye doctor appointment. So I told Frankie, I was like, are you going to be really embarrassed if I roll up to the eye doctor, like with blood on me and stuff? And she kind of rolled her eyes at me, but maybe I'll wait in the truck. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. Be on the lookout for this processing video. My goal is to have it out tomorrow, as you're seeing this, on Friday on 3 Mississippi. So obviously, you know, guys, I can't show everything on YouTube when we're processing because they get funny about that sort of thing. So it will be strategically edited and shown, but you will still get the gist of what we're doing and why on that video. So I hope you make sure and check it out on Friday on 3 Mississippi. So until then, guys, I appreciate you very much. We love you guys. We love that you follow along with us and that you're here. So stay blessed and safety's off.